In the year 1400, if you wanted to build a massive dome on a cathedral, nobody on Earth knew how to do it. The ancient Romans had the secret, but for 1,000 years, that knowledge was gone. Imagine waking up in a world where humans had forgotten how to build a round roof or paint a person that looked like a real human. After 1,000 years of survival mode, a handful of obsessed artists and scientists decided to reboot the entire planet. But how did a few guys in one city in Italy manage to change the way every human on Earth thinks? Welcome to History Bites, where we take the wildest, weirdest, most jaw-dropping moments in history and explain them fast. If you love the kind of history that sounds impossible but actually happened, subscribe. This is Florence, Italy, around 600 years ago. This was 200 years before the first pilgrims ever set foot in North America. For centuries, Europe is stuck in the Middle Ages. Think of it like a computer running on an old, glitchy operating system where the only goal is surviving the day. People aren't focused on art or science. They are focused on not starving. Then something clicks. Imagine living in a city where suddenly everyone stops worrying about survival and starts obsessing over being the best at everything. This is the start of the Renaissance, which literally means rebirth. But here's the part nobody puts in textbooks. It didn't start with a king or an army. It started with a competition to build a door. In 1401, the leaders of Florence held a contest to see who could design the best bronze doors for their local baptistry. It is a 15th-century version of a reality TV talent show, but with hammers and fire. A young goldsmith named Filippo Brunelleschi loses the contest and gets so frustrated he leaves town. He goes to Rome and starts digging in the dirt. He measures old ruins that everyone else had ignored for centuries. Most people don't know this part. He wasn't looking at old rocks. He was looking for the source code of the ancient world. He discovers the secret of perspective. This is the trick of making a flat painting look like you could walk right into it. Before this, paintings looked like flat cartoons where people floated in space. Imagine your favorite video game suddenly switching from 2D pixels to full 4K 3D. That is what Brunelleschi did for art. Now this is where history gets genuinely strange. Brunelleschi takes this secret and uses it to build the largest brick dome in the world. Every architect said it was physically impossible. They thought the whole thing would collapse and crush the city. And the craziest thing, it actually worked. He didn't use a single internal support beam. He built the dome in layers, like a giant 3D puzzle, and it still stands today. People think the Renaissance was only about pretty pictures. It wasn't. It was about the idea that one person could do everything. Enter Leonardo da Vinci. Imagine a student today who is a pro gamer, a varsity athlete, a lead guitarist, and a straight-A student all at once. That was Leonardo. He didn't paint the Mona Lisa. He explored the world. He filled notebooks with designs for tanks, flying machines, and even a robotic knight. This was 500 years before your great-great-grandparents were born. He would sneak into morgues at night to study how muscles worked because he wanted his drawings to be perfect. Stop and think about that for a second. He was so obsessed with accuracy that he spent more time studying the human heart than most doctors of his time. But here's the twist. Leonardo almost never finished anything. He was so easily distracted by the next big idea that he left dozens of masterpieces half done. He was the ultimate genius who couldn't stay on task. While these geniuses are painting in Italy, a man in Germany named Johannes Gutenberg is working on a machine that will change the world faster than the internet. Before 1450, if you wanted a book, someone had to write it out by hand. It took months. A single Bible cost as much as a house. Imagine if every time you wanted to send a message, you had to handwrite it on a piece of leather and mail it. Gutenberg creates the printing press. Suddenly, ideas aren't for the rich. They are for everyone. This is the bit historians argue about even today. Did the art cause the Renaissance, or did the printing press make it impossible to ignore? Ideas start spreading like a viral video that won't stop being shared. When people can read, they start to ask questions. They start to wonder if the people in charge actually know what they are talking about. This leads to the biggest pattern interrupt in human history. And here's where it gets really wild. The Renaissance wasn't a rebirth of old Roman ideas. It was the moment humans realized they could look at the world and figure out how it worked for themselves. In 1543, Nicolaus Copernicus publishes a book saying the Earth isn't the center of the universe. He says we are a planet orbiting the sun. This breaks everyone's brain. It is like finding out your whole life that the sun revolves around your house, only to realize you are on a tiny speck of dust spinning through space. Everything the Middle Ages believed was turned upside down in a single lifetime. The Renaissance changed everything because it taught us that curiosity is a superpower. We still use the science, the math, and the art techniques these geniuses figured out while they were trying to be better than their rivals. The world we live in today started with a few people who refused to believe that the best days were already behind them. They looked at the ruins of the past and decided to build a better future. History is full of moments that sound impossible, but every single one of them actually happened. That's what makes it better than fiction. Subscribe if you want more stories like this. We post every week, and every video will teach you something your history teacher hasn't mentioned yet. And drop your answer in the comments. If you were a Renaissance genius, would you rather invent a flying machine like Da Vinci or paint a masterpiece that people will still look at in 500 years? One person with a big idea can change the entire world.